USA Warrior Stories is a not-for-profit organization designed to record, archive, and share videos of veteran stories, to help veterans make a connection with one another and to help us all better understand their sacrifices for our freedoms.
I grew up in the Republic of Panama in a small town of Rainbow City. Back then in early 60s, it belongs to the U.S. government. So it's Panama, but we were living in the Canal Zone. My father worked for the U.S. government. So by being in the Canal Zone, I had the opportunity to get a visa to leave and come to the United States. I came here when I was 18 and a half, and I came to Brooklyn. I had a sister. I had a sister and a brother. When I came to the United States, I got my draft card at the airport. You know, I got that at the airport when I came in, yeah. And I was A1 when I came. A1 meant I was eligible for the draft immediately. I knew nothing about the Vietnam War. I said, I just came from Panama, and, you know, they didn't want to hear that. Basic training and AIT I did in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And then I did advanced infantry training also in Fort Jackson. And then I was sent out to Fort Lewis. That was for jungle training. Within a year, I was on to Vietnam. I went on the ship, took 30 days. It was, for me, it was one good thing that happened on that ship is that I had an uncle, he passed away, that was a ship that he was working on, one of my father's brothers. So when that ship went through the Panama Canal, so I had a chance to see him, I think about the third and fourth day while I was on the ship. I heard my name, and that I met him, right. Wow. Yeah, I met my uncle going to Vietnam. They had these PT boats, landing boats, and you come in on the beach, and then you move slowly. Well, I went up to Saigon, yeah. I was assigned immediately to Company D, 87 Infantry, and they were heavy artillery, and their job was to protect Saigon. And my first couple of days, they were still having problems with black and white, and that was, you know, discrimination. They had a lot of that still in the Army. So one of the white guys said something to me, but I wasn't too, what was he referring to? So I had another gentleman named Robert Abrams. He was a sergeant, white sergeant, and he was my friend. One thing lead to another, and what happened? A fight. And all of this is recently as they brought me into Saigon, and a fight ensued with the guy that was making the comment and Robert Abrams, myself, but I was more protected by Robert Abrams. By the following day, they told me that they're going to ship me north. And I remember they were saying something regarding a troublemaker. I knew nothing. I still wasn't too.
That you were a troublemaker?
Yeah. With that, they shipped me out. I went north to Benoit. I was assigned to the 199 Light Infantry Brigade Artillery Group. I made some friends while I went up north. It was rough up in Benoit because they also had the prison up there. From Benoit, we did a lot of work in the Delta. You know, you go down in the Delta, that's the river. We do patrol there. And then there were times when they brought us back up for the artillery work. Especially when we had to do patrol in the Delta, we were fired upon, but a lot of work was done with the heavy artillery. We were firing rounds over into where the Viet Cong was stationed. Yeah.
And what kind of weapons were you firing?
That's the heavy artillery, the 105 howitzer. You have those that set the coordination in where this rocket would be headed to, and then you have guys that load it and yeah, and it's ready to fire by me. Yeah. I remember 2 other soldiers I was with. We were out in the village and we got lost. When we got lost, that was a frightening moment, yeah. Especially when they had to call in for air support. And I think that when we got lost, late that evening, they had called in for air support, and we were scared. We thought that this was it. But that was really scary. I had my cousin. We weren't in the same unit, but we were serving same time in Vietnam. That's another thing that was very hurtful to me, because we stayed in touch while we came from Panama together, right? And I was drafted, and he went to Boston. And in Boston, he joined the Marines. Instead of waiting to get, he joined the Marines. And I went to Vietnam before him. He came in after me. But we stayed in touch while I was in Vietnam. He was a little bit further north than I was, yeah.
What was
but
his
he
name?
never made it.
What was his name?
Warren, yeah. Joseph Warren. Yeah. The Vietnamese people were very nice. So in the daytime, they helped you, Mama Sam and Papa Sam. But at night, they are the Viet Cong. That was a lot of problem in the Vietnam War, because at night, the enemy you're fighting was the people that you were with in the daytime. Pretty close to the end of the 18 months, because I did 18 months. They kept you in to secure the prisoners that they had, the Viet Cong and the American prisoners. Our job was to assist the military police in securing the prison. Right after I left, I think a month or 2, they overrun it. I got lucky, yeah, I got lucky. I stayed in the military after that almost 16 years in the reserve in Jamaica Estate, and they were part of the 340th Military Police. My police career I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of my years in the police in public relations. I was in the Brownsville, East New York area. I had the chance of getting involved with the community board. As public relations, I enjoyed that. I got to meet a lot of the politicians over the years. When I came back, I didn't want to mention anything about Vietnam. My first couple of years, because people seems to hate you. That changed in the 90s, yeah. But for a long while, I stayed away from talking about Vietnam. I work with the Vietnam Veterans of America. I work with American veterans, Post 21 out of Oyster Bay. I belong to the American Legion, the VFW. That is for the Martin Luther King Distinguished Service Award from the things that I've done. The Tongue of Oyster Bay presented me. Recently, I was the Grand Marshal for the Old-Bethpage Planiview. I was the Grand Marshal for their parade. That was what was presented to me as the Grand Marshal. And I was interviewed by Newsday for the 50th anniversary of the medal ceremony. It was really something that we deserve.
There you go. That's a nice shot. Look at that.
It was an honor. It was an honor to be there, to be presented with the medal. When I received my medal, I had 50, 60 people that came to see me. Yeah, my family, my friends, they all came to see me that day. The honor flag trip meant a lot to me. My daughter is in the military, and she met me there when they brought us from the airport to Washington. Yeah, my daughter was there waiting for me. And the honor flight for me was moving. I wanted to see the name of my cousin.
It's not as easy as it looks sometimes.
Right, right.
My goodness, it's coming out.
That one came out really nice. Oh, very nice.
My family will be happy to see this. Right.
Okay, yeah, that's better. And then put it in that envelope.
Yes.
Okay? Good. Okay.
As I move around with the veterans, I ask, one of the advice I ask them is not to feel lonely. There's always help there for you. And I do recommend that if you should go to the VA is very helpful. And we ask the veterans, we ask them to meet, we try to meet with groups, different groups. If there's anything that I can do, the fact that I was in the police department and I know advocate for the veterans, there's a lot of things that I do know that I can help with. If you're a Vietnam veteran today, be proud and say you are a Vietnam veteran. You will get good treatment. You will. You'll be treated well. Because the country is aware that the Vietnam, especially the Vietnam veteran, they weren't treated well when they came back. It would be different, but I would like to go back to see Vietnam again. Yeah. I would like to go back to Benoit, where I was stationed. I know when I was there, it was a jungle. You know, I'm not sure if it's, today it is a jungle. In my time, it was a jungle. Yeah. Yeah. I am always looking for peace in the world. I would like to see. War is not nothing. War is not nice. I look for peace, and I ask, me and my wife, we go to church on Sundays, and I pray. I pray for peace. Yeah. I pray that we would have peace in this world.